Where are you?
It started with the text, "Hey, I need your help." I almost dropped my phone when I saw the name Olivia. My heart hammered in my chest as I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling. Olivia had been my best friend since we were kids until 3 years ago, until the accident. I told myself it was a cruel prank. Someone must have gotten hold of her old number, but no one else would know what she called me. "Liv," I typed, my breath hitching. A reply came instantly. "Please, I can't do this alone." I froze. My mouth went dry. I wanted to ignore it, maybe I should have, but something gnawed at me. An ache I thought I'd buried. "Is this a joke?" I sent, feeling my pulse in my throat. 3 dots appeared. My stomach flipped. "You never stopped blaming yourself." I nearly dropped the phone. My skin turned cold. No one knew that. Not my parents, not my therapist, but Olivia. Olivia would have. "Where are you?" I typed, my fingers stiff and clumsy. Silence stretched too long. My heartbeat roared in my ears. Just when I thought it was over, another message buzzed through. I didn't slip. My breath caught in my throat. My mind flashed back to that night train slick rocks. Olivia laughing, then screaming. They called it an accident. Said she must have lost her footing on the cliff edge. But this message, what do you mean? I typed, my hands shaking. Something pushed me. A chill sliced through me, deep and sharp. The lights in my apartment flickered, and my breath fogged the air like it was suddenly winter. My throat constricted. I stood up, phone clutched tight, scanning the empty room. Nothing but the feeling it was there, like something watching, waiting. Another message. Longer this time. I thought it was over, but it's still here, and now it wants you. I stumbled back, hitting the wall. My heart pounded so loud I could barely think. Every instinct screamed to block the number, throw the phone across the room, but I couldn't. I owed her. I left her that night. I let her die. What do I do? The reply came too fast, like she knew I would ask. "Don't let it in." A loud knock echoed through the apartment. My blood ran cold. The knock came again, louder, heavier. The door trembled in its frame. My fingers hovered over my phone, heart thudding painfully against my ribs. Another text. "It's already there." I gasped, spinning around, and saw the shadow. In the corner, something wrong, something watching, and it was smiling. My knees weakened, and I stumbled back. The shadow shifted, moving closer. My phone buzzed in my shaking hand. "Don't let it touch you." I scrambled for the light switch, flicking it on. The bulb flared, then popped, plunging the room into darkness. The shadow crept forward, stretching along the floor, impossibly tall and thin. My breath came in ragged gasps. "Please lift me." How to stop it? The answer came, but it was no comfort. I tried. It always finds a way. The shadow inched closer, its edges curling unnaturally, like smoke without fire. I grabbed my keys off the counter and bolted for the door. The hallway outside felt wrong, too quiet, too still. My footsteps echoed in the silence as I ran for the stairwell. I hit the first step when my phone buzzed again. Against my better judgment, I looked. "It doesn't like when you run." The words made my stomach churn. Cold sweat slicked my skin as I descended the stairs 2 at a time. But the further I went, the darker it became. The lights flickered and died. Somewhere above me, I heard a door creak open. A whisper slid through the darkness, low and wet. "Stay." I reached the lobby and shoved through the exit, gulping in the night air. My phone buzzed again, and I hesitated before looking. "You can't leave it behind." I spun around, and there it was, a shape just outside the glass doors. No face, no eyes, just that same awful smile. I ran. My legs burned as I sprinted down the street, not daring to look back. But no matter how far I went, the feeling lingered. It was still there, watching. My phone buzzed one last time. "It's coming home with you." I slammed my apartment door shut, locking it behind me. My lungs burned, and I leaned against the wood, heart hammering. Silence. Maybe I outran it, but my phone buzzed again. My stomach twisted as I checked the screen. "You brought it inside." My breath caught as the air grew heavy, too heavy. My ears rang with a faint, distant hum. The lights flickered weakly before dying altogether. And then, in the reflection of the darkened window, I saw it. The shadow, standing just behind me. A cold hand brushed my shoulder. I spun around, but nothing was there, just empty air. My phone slipped from my fingers, hitting the floor with a dull thud. But the screen still glowed with one final message. It's too late now. The whisper returned, curling around me like smoke. Stay with me.
Where are you?
The trail through Blackwood Forest was supposed to be a shortcut. It was latent. I should have taken the road, but I was tired, and the thought of cutting 10 minutes off my walk home seemed worth it. The moon hung low, pale and distant, barely piercing the thick canopy overhead. My footsteps crunched softly on the narrow dirt path. Halfway in, my phone buzzed. No signal. A chill crept up my spine. I shook it off, telling myself it was just the cold. The stories about this forest, about the people who vanished, were just that. Stories still. I quickened my pace. The air grew heavier, the sounds of distant traffic fading into an eerie silence. My breath came faster as the path twisted deeper into the woods. That's when I heard it, a branch snapping behind me. I froze mid-step, heart hammering. Slowly, I turned, but there was nothing, just shadows stretching between gnarled trees. I swallowed hard and pressed on, but the crunch of footsteps followed, too heavy to be an animal. I wasn't alone. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone. No bars, just an empty, lifeless screen. A voice cut through the silence, soft, distant. Help me. I stopped cold. It was faint, barely audible, but enough to send ice through my veins. I turned, scanning the dark woods. Hello? My voice sounded too small, too fragile. No answer. I should have run. Every instinct screamed at me to get out, but instead, I took a step toward the sound. Then another dot. The voice came again, closer. This time, double quotes, please, don't leave me. A figure appeared between the trees, a woman, pale and thin, with tangled hair and hollow eyes. Her dress hung in tatters, and her bare feet were streaked with mud. Are you okay? I called, though my voice trembled. She didn't answer, didn't move, just stared. I took a step back. I'll call for help. I glanced down at my phone, heart sinking at the blank screen. When I looked up, she was gone. A sharp breath caught in my throat. My legs trembled as I spun back toward the trail and broke into a run. Branches snagged at my sleeves, the ground uneven beneath my feet. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. The footsteps behind me grew louder, closer. A whisper crawled through the air, just above my ear. Don't leave me. I burst out of the forest, lungs burning. The warm glow of streetlights never looked so welcoming. I didn't stop until I reached my apartment door. Slamming it shut behind me, my phone buzzed in my hand. One new message. I opened it, my fingers numb. You shouldn't have left her.
Where are you?
It's past midnight. The room is quiet, save for the soft hum of your fan and the occasional creak of the house settling. You're half asleep, drifting in that strange space between wakefulness and dream, when suddenly, your phone buzzes loudly. Against the night's silence, you reach over groggily to check the screen, your vision still blurry. Unknown number. You're about to swipe it away when the name flashes beneath the number. Your name. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Without thinking, you press the green button and hold the phone to your ear. Hello. The voice that answers is unmistakable, and yet, it isn't right. It's your own voice, but just echoing like it's being pulled through a tunnel. Why didn't you pick up sooner? It asks. The tone oddly frustrated, like an old friend annoyed by your neglect. You feel a chill crawl down your spine. You sit up straight, wide awake now. You don't remember calling anyone, especially not at this hour. Your throat tightens. Who is this? You manage to croak out. The voice laughs softly, a sound that makes the hairs on your arms stand at attention. Don't you recognize your own voice? I've been waiting for you to answer. Panic begins to gnaw at your insides, but you try to stay composed. I don't understand. What do you want? Another long pause. The air around you grows thick, heavy with something you can't name. It feels wrong, oppressive. The voice on the other end of the line speaks again, its words slow, deliberate. and full of something almost predatory. I know what you've been hiding. I know everything. You've been running for so long, hiding from what you've done, what you are. You feel the ground shift beneath you, your pulse quickening. You can't breathe, your chest tightening with every word. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is this? What do you want? The voice chuckles again, low and mocking. You don't remember. You think you can just forget. The sound of its words becomes a rasp, as if it's pressing its weight against you. You really think you can outrun your past? Your mind races, trying to place the voice. You hear echoes of old fears, long-buried regrets, mistakes from the past. That one night, you've done everything to forget that night, the accident, the one you could never undo. But hearing those words again, it feels like a door you've locked and thrown away. The key is suddenly wide open. The voice cuts through your thoughts, sharp and clear now. Remember that night, the night you thought you were safe. You can't escape it. You can't escape me. Your throat feels dry, the room spinning. You want to hang up, to throw the phone out the window, but something holds you there, like an invisible hand gripping your wrist, forcing you to listen. You know what you did. You know what happened to him. You didn't do enough, and you've been hiding, running ever since. The voice drops lower, more menacing. But I'm not done with you. Not yet. I'm here to make sure you face it. Your fingers tremble, sweat beading on your forehead. You want to scream, to shout, to throw the phone down and run, but it's like your body won't respond. The voice continues, soft and insistent. And you know what else? It's already in the house with you. A cold draft sweeps across the room, a sudden shift in the air that makes you shiver. You glance toward the window, but it's dark outside. The apartment feels unnervingly still, too still. The voice picks up again, drawing out every syllable. Look around. Do you really think you're alone? You freeze, your breath catching in your throat. Your eyes scan the room, darting from the shadows to the corners. The lamp on the nightstand flickers, casting odd shapes across the walls. You swear you see something move in the dark, just out of the corner of your eye. The voice on the other end of the line grows darker, more forceful. I'm closer than you think. Your heart slams against your chest. You want to hang up, to block the number, but your hand won't move. You feel paralyzed, trapped, as if your body is no longer your own. The voice continues, now sounding more like a rasping whisper. You should never have left him there. You should never have walked away. Now it's too late. The room seems to shrink. The temperature drops, and you hear something, a soft scraping sound, like fingernails across wood coming from the other side of the room. You spin around, but there's nothing. The walls feel like they're closing in, pressing against you. The floor creaks under your feet. Look behind you, the voice commands. You can't stop yourself. You turn slowly, the air thick with dread. The shadows in the corner of the room seem to shift, moving closer, stretching unnaturally, like they have a mind of their own. A shape begins to form, tall, thin, and impossibly dark. Its outline shimmers with an unnatural fluidity, like smoke. Without a flame, a low laugh comes through the phone again. Too late, it's already here. The shadow stretches toward you, impossibly long, as if it's reaching for you. You feel something cold, a presence pressing against your back, chilling you to the bone. You can't breathe. The shadow moves closer, its form now towering over you, and then you hear it, the faintest whisper, right next to your ear, like a breath brushing your skin. Stay with me. The phone slips from your hand and hits the floor with a dull thud, but the screen remains on. The call is still connected, the distorted, mocking voice echoing through the room. You back away slowly, trying to retreat into the corner, but the shadow follows. You want to scream, but no sound comes out. Your hands shake, your legs weaken. You feel trapped in the space between the call, the shadows, and the past you thought you'd left behind. The voice continues, a whisper now, but somehow louder, more insistent. It never really left you, did it? You want to run, but it's too late. The darkness swallows you whole, pulling you into its suffocating grip. This expanded version takes the tension up a notch, with more sensory details, and deepens the psychological horror by continuously tying the protagonist's fears and past mistakes into the supernatural presence haunting them. The shadow serves as a manifestation of their guilt, a constant reminder that they can never escape.